Hey y'all, welcome to this week's new book releases for the last week of March. I feel like I just said that for February and yet here we are already. This week too, because actually for the past few weeks I've noticed that the list is small and I'm like, maybe I'm being too picky. This wasn't supposed to be about ones particularly that were, I was excited about, like, yay, this is coming out. This was just supposed to be an informative thing. So I'm trying to get more of different genres and just, yeah. There's still some that don't show up much because I'm just like, this is all kind of the same, or I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. So this week's big one though is YA. There's several YAs. Like some of them were the ones that the Fairy Loot team had mentioned that they were excited about to come out this month. They're coming out this week. So yeah, timestamps though. Timestamps to click around. Let me know though if you think this one came out a bit better because there was more options, because I try to touch on a lot of different genres. Just let me know how this one worked. Without further ado, let's get into our large list because yeah, that happened. Our first one though is going to be from the Suspense. Interesting fact about this one, it was also listed under romance. The description though tells me nothing romance. I like it though because the main character is a chef. So, On the Line by Fern. He's a rising star in New York's cutthroat culinary world until it all comes crashing down when a mysterious illness unearths dark secrets from his family's past in Colombia, putting his career and everyone he loves on the line. Mateo Castillo is a rising star chef on the Manhattan culinary scene. But just as he's about to reap the rewards of his skill and hard work by being featured on a major TV cooking competition, Mateo collapses in his restaurant's kitchen and regains consciousness in a hospital emergency room. If it weren't for a security guard finding him in time, Mateo would have bled to death. The cause of his sudden illness is as mysterious as it is worrying. And Mateo and his family undergo a battery of genetic tests, yet the answers start to emerge only raise more questions. We will leave the last little paragraph to be discovered. And moving from there is a mystery called Play the Fool by Lena Chern. This one's cover is all neon though, so it was cool looking. It says, for Katie True, a keen gut and quick wit are just tools of the trade. After a failed attempt at adulting in Chicago, she's back in the suburbs, living a bit too close to her overbearing parents, jumping from one dead-end job to the next, and flipping through her tarot deck for guidance. Then along comes Marley, mysterious, worldly, and comfortable in her own skin. Marley takes a job at the mall where Katie peddles Russian tchotchkes. The two just get each other. Marley doesn't try to fix Katie's life or pretend to be someone she's not, and Katie thinks that Marley's friendship, she just might make it through the rough patch after all. Until the day when Katie, having been encouraged by Marley to practice soothsaying, reads the cards for someone who stumbles into her shop. But when she sneaks a glance at his phone, she finds more than intel to improve her clairvoyance. She finds a photo of Marley with a gunshot wound to the head. The bottom falls out of Katie's world. Her best friend is dead. Who killed her? She quickly realizes that there are some things her tarot cards can't foresee. She must put her razor-sharp instincts to the ultimate test. And after our mystery, we have a thriller, and it's called The Last Wife by J.A. Baker. Welcome to Winter's End. Winter's End should have been the perfect place for me and my husband Neil to start again, to leave the terrible secrets and guilt of our past far behind us. But from the moment we arrived in this small, isolated community, it becomes clear to me that we are not welcome here, that someone wants us to leave. I'm certain that everyone knows our secrets, knows who we really are, but how can that be? Perhaps my mind is playing tricks on me, just like before. And I know Neil thinks I'm paranoid, my thoughts spiraling again. If only I had someone else to talk to, another woman to confide in. And that's when I realized something far more terrifying. I am the only wife at Winter's End, and I could be the last. So that sounds sufficiently thrillery, interesting, like, yeah, there's hidden things going on there. Now we'll move into the fiction, which we have a few books, and this first one, though, is listed under fiction as coming of age in your 20s and 30s. I feel like once you hit 30, it's not so much coming of age as maybe finding yourself. I don't know. But yet. This is Sea Change by Gina Chung. Also is listed as alienation and disillusionment fiction. That sounds more correct than coming of age at this point. She's already of age. It's already happened. Ro is stuck. She's just entered her 30s. She's estranged from her mother, and her boyfriend has just left her to join a mission to Mars. Yep. Her days are spent dragging herself to her menial job at the aquarium, and her nights are spent drinking shark-tinis, which is Mountain Dew, copious amounts of gin, and plus a hint of jalapeno. With her best friend pulling away to focus on her upcoming wedding, Ro's only companion is Dolores, a giant Pacific octopus who also happens to be Ro's last remaining link to her father, a marine biologist who disappeared while on expedition when Ro was a teenager. When Dolores is sold to a wealthy investor intent on moving her to a private aquarium, Ro finds herself on the precipice of self-destruction. Wading through memories of her youth, Ro realizes she can either lose herself in the undertow of reminiscence or finally come to terms with her childhood trauma, recommit to those around her, and find her place in an ever-changing world. So, it sounds like it might be, beautiful. It might speak to a lot of us who were at that point in their lives. The next one, though, is a historical fiction. It's called The Tobacco Wives by Adeline Myers. Children might be waking. North Carolina, 1946. One woman, a discovery that could rewrite history. Maddie Sykes is a burgeoning seamstress who just arrived in Brightleaf, North Carolina, the tobacco capital of the South, where her aunt has a thriving sewing business. After years of war rations and shortages, Brightleaf is a prosperous wonderland in a full technicolor bloom, and Maddie is dazzled by the bustle of the crispy uniformed female factory workers, the palatial harms, and the most of all, her aunt's glossiest clientele, the wives of the powerful tobacco executives. But she soon learns that Brightleaf isn't quite the carefree paradise that it seems. A trail of misfortune follows many of the women, including substantial health problems, and although Maggie is quick to believe that it is coincidence, she inadvertently uncovers evidence that suggests otherwise. Maggie wants to report what she knows, but in a town where everyone depends on big tobacco to survive, she doesn't know who she can trust and fears that exposing the truth may destroy the lives of the proud, strong women with whom she's forged strong bonds. So obviously that is the uncovering, rewriting history with tobacco-y things. Our next one is also fiction, and it is The Lonely Hearts Book Club by Lucy Gilmore. And this one sounds just sweet and touching. A young librarian and an old curmudgeon forge an unlikely friendship in this charming feel-good novel about one misfit book club and the lives and loves it changes along the way. Sloane Parker lives a small, contained life as a librarian in her small, contained town. She never thinks of herself as lonely, but she still looks forward to that time every day when old curmudgeon Arthur McLaughlin comes to browse the shelves and cheerfully insult her. Their sparring is such a highlight of Sloane's day that when Arthur doesn't show up one morning, she's instantly concerned. And then another day passes, and another. Anxious, Sloane tracks the old man down only to discover him all but bedridden and desperately struggling to hide how happy he is to see her. Wanting to bring more cheer into Arthur's gloomy life, Sloane creates an impromptu book club. Slowly, the lonely misfits of their sleepy town begin to find each other, and in their book club find the joy of unlikely friendship, because as it turns out, everyone has a special book in their heart and a reason to get lost and eventually found within the pages. Books have a way of bringing even the loneliest souls together. So see, it just sounds so sweet. It's so relevant to all people who read. Now we'll move into the big YA genre, and the first up is going to be Stars and Smoke by Marie Lu. It is a smoldering enemies to lovers novel that puts a superstar global phenomenon and a hotshot young spy on a collision course with danger and Cupid's arrow in this electric new series, perfect for fans of Nicola Yoon and Ally Carter. Meet Winter Young, international pop sensation, with a voice like velvet and looks that could kill. His star power has smashed records, selling out stadiums from LA to London. His rabid fans would move heaven and earth for even a glimpse of him. Just imagine what they do to become his latest fling. Meet Sydney Corset. Part of an elite covert ops group, Sydney joined their ranks as the youngest spy with plans to become the best agent they've ever had. An ice queen with moves as dangerous as her comebacks, Sydney picks up languages just as quickly as she breaks hearts. She's fiery, no nonsense, and has zero time for romance, especially with the shameless flirt more used to serving sass than taking orders. But their paths have to cross when he's hired to perform at a mobster's daughter's birthday party. And she's going to be his bodyguard to get close to the mobster and take down the target and ruin his daughter's birthday. But obviously sparks will fly. I don't know. It sounds like it might be fun in that sort of way. Probably I wouldn't have to take it so seriously. Next one has a similar title. It's Made of Stars by Jenna Voris. This one's more space sci-fi though. Shane and Ava are a team. He steals the aircraft, she charms their mark, and together they take what they need. Not even their distracting chemistry could get in the way until Shane was caught and left to rot in prison on a prison moon. Now, freshly escaped from confinement and simmering with anger, he has his sights set on their biggest job yet. Who's he angry at? Is he angry at her? Doesn't sound like it. Cyrus just graduated from the Flight Academy with a shiny new position lined up for reporting to a well-respected general. On his very first assignment, he stops the outlaws in their tracks, or he would have if his annoyingly handsome co-pilot Lark hadn't fallen for Ava's deception. But when Shane uncovers a top-secret plot that would leave his and Ava's homeworld at the mercy of Cyrus's military leaders, he makes it his mission to thwart them at all costs. It isn't long before the two of them make interstellar headlines with each new heist. And thanks to a chance run-in with the rebels, Cyrus is caught between two versions of the truth. He must pick a side and fast, because Shane and Ava will bring the planet to its knees, or die trying. Okay. The next one, though, is called In Nightfall, and it says, it's a cross between The Lost Boys and Buffy the Vampire Slayer in this propulsive novel from the best-selling author of The Treatment. Theo and her brother Marco threw the biggest party of the year and got caught. Their punishment? Leave Arizona to spend the summer with their grandmother in the rainy beachside town of Nightfall, Oregon, population 846 souls. The small town is cute when it's not raining, but their grandmother is superstitious and strangely antisocial. Upon their arrival, she lays out one house rule: always be home before dark. But Theo and Marco are determined to make the most of their summer, and on their first day, they meet the enigmatic Minnow and her friends. Beautiful and charismatic, the girls have a magnetic pull that Theo and her brother can't resist. But Minnow and her friends are far from what they appear, and that one rule? Theo quickly realizes she should have listened to her grandmother, because after dark, something emerges in Nightfall, and it doesn't plan for her to leave. Next one, we're moving into the YA fantasy, and this is Chaos and Flame by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland. Darling Seabreak cannot remember anything before the murder of her family at the hands of House Dragon, but she knows she owes her life to both the power of her Chaos Spoon and House Kraken for liberating her from the sewers where she spent her childhood. So when her adoptive Kraken father is captured in battle, Darling vows to save him, even if that means killing each and every last member of House Dragon. Talon Goldhoard has always been a dutiful war prince for House Dragon, bravely leading the elite troops of his brother, the High Prince Regent, but lately his brother's erratic rule threatens to undo 100 years of House Dragon's hard work. The factions are turning to Talon to unseat him. Talon resists until he's ambushed by a fierce girl who looks exactly like the one his brother has painted obsessively, repeatedly, for years, and Talon knows she is the key to everything. Together, Darling and Talon must navigate the treacherous waters of house politics. I think that was the wrong word. Caught up in the complicated game the High Prince Regent is playing against everyone. The unlikeliest of allies, they'll have to stop fighting each other long enough to learn to fight together in order to survive the fiery prophecies and ancient blood magic threatening to devastate their entire world. So it sounds very fantasy. Yes, politicalness. Krakens and dragons against each other remind you of something else. I don't know. We will have to see how that one plays out. It's going to be a duology, so it's not going to be a super long series. We will have to see. Moving into regular fantasy, though, we have The Fairy Bargains of Prospect Hill by Rowena Miller. This one sounded interesting when I read about it before. It's a historical fantasy as well. There is no magic on Prospect Hill, or anywhere else for that matter, but just on the other side of the veil is the world of the Fae. Generations ago, the first farmers of Prospect Hill learned to bargain small trades to make their lives a little easier. A bit of glass to find something lost, a cup of milk for better layers in the chicken coop. Much of that old wisdom was lost as the riverboats gave way to the rail lines and the farmers took work in mills and factories. Elaine Fairborn's family, however, was always superstitious, and she still hums the rhymes to find a lost shoe and ensure dry weather on her sister's wedding day. When Delphine confides her new husband is not the man she thought he was, Aline will stop at nothing to help her sister escape him. Small bargains buy them time, but a major one is needed. Yet the price for true freedom may be more than they're willing to pay. Words are hard with that one. Words are very hard with that one. Our last one for the week is a sci-fi, and this one is Infinity Gate by M.R. Carey. This one was on my anticipated releases, so I really need to try to check it out. Infinity is only the beginning. The pandemonium, a political and trading alliance of a million worlds, except that they're really just one world, Earth, in many different realities. And when an AI threat arises that could destroy everything the pandemonium has built, they'll eradicate it by whatever means necessary. Scientist Hadiz Tambawal is looking for a solution to her own Earth's environmental collapse when she stumbles across the secret of interdimensional travel, a secret that could save everyone on her dying planet. It leads her into the middle of a war on a scale she never dreamed of, and she needs to choose a side before every reality pays the price. You would think that interdimensionally trade and travel would help with the resource problem. But I guess it's still a world the same size on, well, it didn't have to be a world the same size on every dimension, though, would it? Because as soon as one figures it out, we could always just, take from the one less peopled. Who knows? Who knows? That is everything that is coming out today. I hear a kid upstairs, so I need to wrap this up. I hope, though, that I touched on more genres and interesting books that you guys will like this week. I'm sorry that I got too narrow-minded, maybe, and just very few things in the last few. I'm going to try to do better. I really am. If you would like to see what I'm reading for March for the readathon, nope. If you'd like to see what I'm reading for April in the readathon, you can check out that video here. And if you're enjoying my content, consider subscribing so that way you can stay tuned for the vlogs, for the anticipated releases later this week. And I hope you guys are finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.